Welcome to the examples for orthographic views from Chapter 7. I'm going to be working on example number 2 for third angle orthographic projection. That is found on page 7-29 of your textbook. In front of you, you see on the screen the 3D model, and as we said in example 1, once you have the 3D model in SolidWorks, finding the orthographic views is pretty easy. Now, what's nice about this particular example is, unlike example number 1, this model is oriented with the same front, right, and top as the model in the book, or the figure in the book. So we'll have a one-to-one correspondence between front, right, and top between the two drawings. All right, so just to remind yourself, we're trying to show what this object's going to look like from the different vantage points. So we can just hit spacebar on the keyboard. That's what our front view should look like. You see a couple squares, a notch up there. If you want to check for any hidden lines, we're going to hit hidden lines. There are none here. I'll move over to the right side. Notice that there's a couple hidden lines here. Let's just see where those are coming from. You're going to get an edge from, let me just go to the solid here. Okay, you're going to get this this edge up here on this plane, and also you're going to get the lower edge from that plane. So just going out here to the right and going to X-ray vision, hidden lines visible. On the side view, right side view, we're going to have a couple hidden lines. So let's just keep that in mind. When we go up to the top, we're looking straight down. I don't really need that dimension, but we are going to, now here's a good, this is confusing. You say, hey, what about these extra, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 lines up here. Well, 2 of them are known as tangent edges, so you may want to turn those off, or if we go to shaded, they're still there. There's probably an option up here, display. Let's see, it says tangent edges visible. So we can take those off, and it did not take those off. View, display, tangent edges visible. Let's do tangent edges removed. Okay, there they are. So if you take tangent edge removed now, that would be the orthographic. In orthographic views, you generally do not show tangent edges. You just show real edges. Just rotating over here to the isometric, you know that we can create a new drawing. I clicked on New Drawing, and I've got mine set up. If yours is clicked here, I like to use a landscape, no sheet format, put OK. All right, I'm going to double click over here on the left, and what you see is that this is set up for first angle projection for some reason. So let's see if there's some easy way over here to change to third angle. And I don't see anything here. So let's just do this. We will put a couple views out here. These are not the ones. We're going to create multiple views. We'll put all these views out there. Okay. This is first angle projection. This is the way the rest of the world does it. It puts the left view on the right, and it puts the the bottom view on the top. So it's kind of screwy. But I guess everybody else in the world thinks it's pretty good. All right, now what we need to do to change this over to third angle is I can right-click Properties, and notice up here into the projections there's first angle and third angle. We want this to be third angle. All right, and when we did that, things popped up to the way we're used to seeing them, which is nice. Now the other thing is we still have tangent edges in here. All right, one way to get rid of the tangent edges is you can right click on a view and go to tangent edge removed, And I will do that on the right side as well. Tangent edge removed. There's probably a way to turn it off for everything. It's probably up here in View, Display. No, it's not. But anyway, I've got all the tangent edges off. There weren't any in the front. The other thing we would want to check for is to make sure there isn't any hidden lines. So I'm just going to click on each of the views, hit hidden lines. There's none in the top, none in the front, but there are some hidden lines in the right. And for some reason I didn't get rid of the tangent edges here in the right. Okay, so there's the right. Okay, so top right and front is what we have here, so you can always use SolidWorks to create these views. All right, let's get into what's going on here with the book now. So let's change gears a little bit, and this time I'm going to use the same front view. So that's my front view. My top view's coming from above, and then the right view's coming in from this right side. Alrighty, so we have to decide where we're going to start, what's going to be the easiest thing to draw. And I don't know, I guess I'm old-fashioned. I just kind of like to start with the front because I know I'm going to see a couple squares there, and then we're going to see this this arc and then the slot. So let me begin, and I can just begin somewhere arbitrary. Remember, counting the squares, we're going to do it when we're going along this angle 30 degrees. We're going to count the squares that are going from left to right in a 30 degrees. So it's 1, 2. I've got 2 squares, and then when I go up along one of these edges, I can see that I'm going to go up basically 2 squares. So it's a 2 by 2 square. So let me just draw that down in here. So I'm going to draw this shape right here. So let me just call this surface number 1. Okay, and then I need to count over 1, 2. I'm going to go over 3 squares, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to get the other square. Let me call that surface number 2. So I've got surfaces 1 and 2. We can see a little edge down here. Okay, that's going to come across there. And now we have to decide how high is this thing going. Let's see, so it's going to go up 1 square, 2 squares, 3 squares. Oh, geez, it's hard to tell. Let's do it over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7. Okay, so I guess we're going to come up 7. So I'm up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I hope I'm going to fit in this thing. Let's see, I got to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm probably just going to make it here. All right, so I'm going to come up 7. Let's see, I'm just going to try once again here. This is coming to here, and this is coming to here. So it's a little hard with this graph paper to tell what's going on exactly. But it looks like we're basically a square up. Okay, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know, I guess 6. Let's go 2, 4, 6. So let's go up 6. All right. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little line here just to show that that's going to be the top if this thing wasn't notched out. Now there's a little bit of a there's a notch in here, so let's figure out where that is. It looks like it's a little bit more, I don't know, maybe that's an optical illusion. It probably is, because this is coming down here and here, so it looks like it's slotting in right to that space between the two squares. So it's hard to see the exact width here. It might be in just a little bit, so it's not quite aligned with the edge from the left square. So let's just bring it in a little bit. I don't have the exact thing, but it looks like it's a little bit more than one square. So I'll just come like this, and as long as you get the rough idea, I presume your instructor is going to be okay with you. Alright, and then you've got, this is going to come out, and then it's going to have a little radius here, and just eyeball it in nicely. Once again, with this dotted graph paper from the book, it's a little bit hard to tell exactly what the arc centers and lengths are, but that's approximately what we have going. So from the front, we see the notch, we see the arcs, and that's just about it. All right, so now let's work on the top, and let me just separate by one square where I'm going to start the top. Now, right now, this distance from left to right is generally known as the width on the part. And from here to here, this is known as the height. Okay, so let's call that height. Now, when we go to the top view and look down on this thing, we are also going to be seeing the width. Okay, and we're also going to see the depth. So let me draw the front of this. Okay, so then we'll hopefully, let's see how many squares back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I start here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I can fit it. All right. So right now on the front, let me just label this A. So edge A, which is here, and it's going to be there. All right. So I got that edge. Now how far back is it? It's going to go back 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's just hard to see this exactly. 1, 2. Yeah, I'd say it's going to go back 3. So go back 1, 2, 3. Okay. And now I have that shape that I see, and I'll just call that surface 3. Okay, so there's surface 3. Surface 4 is going to be just the same thing on the other side. Well, sorry, that should be 4. Okay, and then we've got to decide how far back it is. So it's another 2 squares going to go back. So we're going to get to this back side, and we're going to draw this shape right here. Okay, so that's all this top that you're going to see, but we're going to pick up 2 edges. Now where are those edges going to be? We can project them from the front, and they would be here and here. Okay, so edges in one view have to line up with the corresponding edges in the other view. Okay, so both the front and the top would show the width of the object. So let me just label some things here. This would be surface 5 right here, and this would be 6 and 7. 6 and 7 are actually curved, but they would just appear as rectangles from above if you're not showing the tangent edges. And let me just look at what the author has, and he's got the same thing. I look over at my SolidWorks, same thing also. All right, now this distance from the front to the back is often known as the depth. All right, so front view shows width and height, top view shows width and depth. So what do you think the right side view is going to show? Well, if you said depth and height, you're correct. You said anything else, nobody's going to know you were wrong. Alrighty, so any depth information that we get from the top view can be brought over to the right view. So the first thing we're going to see is this little rectangle. I'm going to call that surface 8. Okay, it looks like it's 1, 2, 3 squares. I know it's 3 because it was 3 there. So I'm going to just come back 1, 2, 3. Okay, this front edge right here, which is going to be this edge there, is 2 squares up. All right, and I'm going to bring this over here. Now there's not actually going to be any edge right here 3 squares back, because that's a smooth transition into the back area. We've gone back 3, so we're going to have to come back another 2 to have the right depth. So 1, 2, and then this is going to come up. It's got to have the same height as the front view. It's got to have all the same depth information as the top view. All right, so that's the overall shape of everything that we're going to visibly see. And I'm just going to remind you that this is the depth right here, and of course the height. Now we get into the hidden lines. All right, anytime you go to a view and there's some kind of cavity that, see, we're looking from the left in to the front here, there's going to be this edge right along the bottom that we're going to see. And since it's blocked by the front face, that's where we're going to bring over a dotted line. All right, and then likewise, if you look from the right, actually if I go to the solid model, this edge or the corresponding one on the other rectangle, those edges are going to be right in this area. Yes, it's going to be back, but it's going to be right basically here and here. And notice that's going to be 1, 2, 3 squares back, 1, 2, 3 squares back. So we're going to put a dotted line right there. All right, so that is the completed sketch. It's probably easiest to use your own graph paper if possible. But I will now look at what the book had. It looks very similar to what I have. Only difference may be how far down this slot was, but I thought it was a little bit, maybe more than one square, but pretty close. So that's it for example 2 on page 728.